CQ. This is M0 Eugene calling all members and friends of Pennine Ham, the regular Thursday evening digital night. And we'll see how many we get on this evening. In the last couple of weeks it's been 16 each time. So first of all, as usual, we'll go down the lines of people who are connected who may not be wanting to join in with that. So G0TVB, good evening, Paul. You've got two connections going. Are you coming in on either of them tonight? M0AUG. Nothing heard from Paul. Over to you there, Jim. G4JB in the group, MC. Are you joining us or just wanting to listen this evening, Jim? Good evening. Nothing heard from Jim this time around. M7CRM, Chris. News to you, Chris, down in Thompson. Are you joining us this evening? Over to you. Nothing heard from Chris. There's nobody connected at the moment that I'm aware of on GB7HX, but thank you, Malcolm, for making the facility available to us. Is there anybody listening to HX who wants to come in now? Come in now, please. And next, G6, uniform. Are you joining us this evening, all? Nothing heard from any of the above. I'll just put a call out to Daz just in case you're just monitoring or you want to come in. M5ADI in the group, M0AEG. Good evening, guys. Nothing heard from Darren. For general information, Darren is someone who owns the rooms are reflected there, so he's the whip sitting in there just monitoring what's going on. Right, G8KJG in the group. Good evening, Lou. M0AEG. G8KJJ from M0AUG. Yes, thanks, Jeff. Greetings to everyone. It's been cold here. I suppose it's been cold everywhere. And not very nice weather, but the days are getting longer, and we can expect the spring maybe, hopefully sooner than later. Radio-wise, it's been first with FT4. It's been very variable. Some stations on FT4, but mostly local, mostly European, not too many more distant DX. I was interested in Pete's comment last week on the suggestion that Yaesu was saying that 100-watt rigs should be used limited, or they should be limited to 25 watts on data. And that forced me to have a look at Kenwood, because I use a Kenwood PS590. And it seems that Kenwood's rigs, there was no limit on the power out, even though I always run at about 50 watts. So I mean, it's difficult to understand why Yaesu has got that line of thought. Maybe because the rigs are much smaller, maybe the heat sinks are not as good. As I say, but I usually run the PS590 that I have here on 50 watts. The other thing I'm struggling with at the moment is I've been looking at the SDR console and trying to figure out how I can implement that with my station. But it's a very complicated program, and it's going to take some time to sort out. So that's my week, and I'll go back to you, Jeff. M0 AUG KJJ. KJJ, group M0 AUG. Yes, fine enough, and thanks for your input there. Quite a lot to talk about. I've always regarded the airstream radios as having a 25 watt maximum on the data services, but up to us to discuss. Maybe that they'd have quite a few successions in the early days of people blowing finals. But anyway, let's see how it goes and go around the group. So thanks for your comments on that. We'll pick up the other bits as we go. Right, down to my net there, and Andrew. M0 IOL in the group. M0 AG. Good evening, Andrew. Hope all is well. M0 AG in the group. M0 Carlo. Good evening, Jeff, and everyone else that's on the net tonight. Yes, everything is okay. Why don't I? I had a quick chat with Nick a few minutes ago, and I think the weather that you've got up there is the same as we've got down here. It's dull, grey, very cold. We've got an easterly wind, so walking on the seafront today, or walking on the beach with the dog was not the best of experiences. It certainly felt way below freezing. But it's dry at the moment, which is quite good. Yeah, and I think it's going to be lucky for the rest of the week of the rain cause. That's the weather forecast, and I would say sunny white, but a grand miserable whitehead. So back to you, Jeff. It's AUG in the group. This is M0 IOL. M0 IOL in the group. M0 AUG. Yes, fine, that's Andrew. I did just catch the end of your initial cue, so when he was testing the parallels. So, over to you, Nick, and also good evening to anybody who's listening on the YouTube channel. And Nick will let us know how many we've got over there. G4IW in the group, M0AWG. Good evening, Nick.
M0 AUG in the group from G4IWO. Yes, good evening, Jeff, and good evening, everyone else here. And at the moment, we only have 2 people on the live channel, although, as you will probably know from the statistics, we get many more who listen to it during the week, up to about 50 people generally. The average is about 40, I think, that we have listening to this after it's been broadcast. So good evening if you're one of those listening on YouTube this evening. And yes, I ran through the weather with Andrew earlier, just testing the connection. Currently 1.5 degrees centigrade here. There's a cold wind, but the positive out of all this is that we've got no rain. And for the northwest in the Pennines, then having no rain is definitely something to see the continuation of, even if it's a little bit too cold. And I agree with the point that Andrew made when we were chatting earlier. In my view, it's a bit too cold to go out and walk portable, and certainly from a backpack, maybe from a car, but not from outside on the hills up here for sure. It's way too cold. So back to you, Jeff. M0 AUG in the group G4IWO.
The group M0 AUG returning, yes, fine enough. Even though we're down actually at sea level on the final coast here, well, it's still very, very cold indeed. But the bonuses, like you say, make it fine. So we'll see how that goes anyway. I wouldn't recommend people going out up into the hills at this end of the doing social boats, but some people will. Over to the journey now, and DL1 BJW with DL8 PDP. And I hope you're feeling much better this week, Adriana. I got the padding removed from the eye. I'm certainly feeling the benefit of it. Over to you there, Mike, please.
There's only my one Bravo Juliet Whiskey. Very good evening to all. Hope everybody is feeling okay and healthy and well. one word at the beginning to Lou, G8KJJ, about the limitations of FT8 and FT4 of the power. I've been using IC7300, I think 5 years now. Yeah, must be 5 years. And I've always used 50 watts with FT8 and FT4 with no bad consequences whatsoever. No problems, no heat problems, and the signal always stable. So that's a little bit of my experience here with this break. Otherwise, okay, it could be 25 watts, 30 watts could be really enough. That's okay. But some of our co-contestants, so to speak, in FT8 and FT4 use very high power indeed. At 100 watts is the limit to below limit, so to speak, and there are stations with 500 watts and more. To have a chance sometimes with very rare stations, I think 50 watts is okay, and I wouldn't go any higher than that, but I think there's no problem with that. I once read in a manual about the IC7300, which was published by the RSGB, I think, by New Zealand Ham, I think he was called Andrew Barron, that he was using up to 100 watts with the IC7300, also with no consequences and no bad experiences. So far from this side about that. Last weekend there was the RTTY contest. The conditions were much better than the time before that. I contacted several stations in South America, especially in Suriname, Papa Zulu, and Foxtrot Yankee in French Guyana, also in 9 Zulu, Trinidad, and Brazil, a little bit USA and Victor Echo, but astonishingly, no African, no East Asian, and no BK or ZL stations. So this is better than the last time, but there's still something to achieve, I think, and to more air above, so to speak, to reach out. Okay. Lang over, passing the microphone to Delta Lima 8 Bravo Delta Tango.
Yeah, very good evening. This is Delta Lima 8 Bravo Delta Tango for the group. Yes, here in northern Germany, the weather is quite strange. During the weekend, it has been quite good. There has been sunshine and a touch of springtime, but after the weekend, snow has fallen down and temperature is about the freezing point up to -2 or 3 degrees centigrade, and a quite cold wind is blowing here. So that's not comfortable to go outside here. And when we have been looking outside of our window into our garden, we saw that our Ragakov antenna has been swaying around, and we thought there might be a problem even in periods where there has been no wind. There was some quite heavy movement there, and so we went outside and we have been looking at the fishing pole, and there was the fault. The fishing pole has been split at the base, and so we had up until now made a little bit of repairing work, but we think that in the end we'll have to change it and then find another fishing pole. But now it works, but with a little bit less good SWR, on worse WR, and so there will be a little bit repairing work when the weather will become a little bit better. So I have the microphone back to M0AUG for the book.
BCT with deal on BJW in the group. Thanks to you both for your comments. Please, you can't be up to the thoughts out there. And, you know, we're pretty well down at more or less down at sea level on the farm coast here. So, whilst Nick and some of the others up at the Pennine have been reporting snow and pictures of snow on antennas and things like that, we've not seen anything at all down here so far. And we don't normally, but we did it early on the show a couple of weeks ago. We got up in the morning because light. It wasn't frost. So some benefits of the sea. Right, over to Jeff now. Also, Pennine Ham and Tango in the group. M0AG. Good evening, Jeff.
Mike 0 AUG, the group over 8 November Tango. Very good evening to everyone, a very good day to everyone. Nice to catch up with everyone again. The weather here, well, Tuesday we had snow. I posted the picture of what we found on Tuesday morning. Was not expected actually, but the weather service has made his apologies for something they haven't seen coming. So all good. And today we have 2 degrees, quite chilly, but it's dry. So we will have dry weather for the coming days. It will be around 4 to 5 degrees. Okay, about FT4, Luis, I think maybe the conditions were not that good during the last couple of days, so that might be the reason that you haven't worked that much stations. And on the power in FT8, I'm normally on my IC7300, I use a maximum of 20 watts. But I have an IC9700 for 2 meters and 70 centimeters, and there I use on FT8 sometimes 70, 75, 80 watts with no problem at all. And I had my old rig, my very first, it was IC3 QRT rig, maximum 10 watts. And I remember that I was using that on Ricky and on GT65, it was at that time, yeah, it was at GT9, GT65. I was using that on the full 10 watts, and I never had any problem with that. So, yeah, no experience with SDR console, unfortunately. The Ricky contest a little bit the same like Mike. Actually, I never had so much QSOs. Last weekend I made 280 QSOs in 52 DXCC countries. So I never had a result like that. So I'm very, very happy. Like Mike said, the Caribbean, South America, South Africa, Morocco, and Eco Alpha 8, Canary Islands, but not other Africans, and some Asian Russians, and an African Italian station. An African Italian station. It seems that one of the islands of Italy is actually on the African continent, so that was also Africa, strangely enough. And today I started monitoring the slow scan TV from the ISS, which is this time on 70 centimeters, preparing so that everyone has the occasion to try and use that for the upcoming From to Ham mission, which will fly with 4 citizens over the poles, which is the first time that will happen. So that's the news for this time. So maybe next time I'll tell a little bit more about my antenna experience in Chai. So back to you, Jeff. Mike 0 AUG, the group in 8 November Tango.
N8NP.
Good November Tango in the group, Mike Sierra Alpha Uniform Golf for Jenny. Yes, fine about 10 Chapman. Interesting times. The thing that's coming out on radios, there seems to be a difference between manufacturers as far as the power is concerned. So we'll see what other people have to add as they go along. But, I know I was always told on the airsuit side not to go above 25 watts or things like that. I was practicing with that sports anymore. So, over to you there, Bob. You've been very busy on your posts again. And the certificate on the WhatsApp group. And for XNT in the group. M0AG. Good evening or good afternoon to you, Bob. Zero AUG with the group. November 4 XL. Tango. Good evening, good afternoon to everyone that's listening. Of course, I did not have snow on my antennas yesterday, and I wasn't about to go outside to clean them off. So I have an HFJ 350M toy box antenna, which I just keep, and I really don't use it, but I decided yesterday, well, I'll set it up in the house. And she was like, well, I made 14 contacts, so I really can't complain. And one of those contacts, of course, was my 140th contact with one of the local, but one of the parks. At any rate, I made another certificate yesterday, so I was happy about that. We had maybe 4 snow, I guess, and today we had a warm spell. It's up to 8 Celsius right now, so we can't complain about that because it's warm off the pavements and the driveway. Although we still have quite a bit of snow out there, the sidewalks are clear here. They have a deal here where within 24 hours after a snowfall, we must of course, I would do it. But more recently, you have to have it done. It costs $40 to have it done. So it's good when the rain comes and does it for us, where we get it done for nothing. High. Not much else to report. Most of my time, of course, I have been spending on quota, and I'm doing well with it. Back to you, Jeff. X0AG, November 4, X-ray Alpha Tango. X-ray Alpha Tango in the group. X-ray Alpha Uniform Golf for Charlie. Okay, there, Robin. Yeah, it was interesting to see the full shots of the antennas on the WhatsApp group there. Snow is something that we don't have much on in our location. It has been known, but not on a regular basis. You could rise on the street where we are now on the Flower Coast, where my neck is up in the park, different than the snow, because we used to live on the outskirts of the old area, which Nick knows is not far away out. So we know all about snow, and snow actually was going completely up the high side of the curve map of my in-law's house back in the 70s. It took ages for us to dig it all out. So there you go, different scenarios there. Hopefully, shower. Let's see where we're up to with that. G4HPH, good evening, and over to you there, Colin.
Yeah, okay, M0AUG, G5HPH, joining the Pennine Ham. Good evening, everyone. Just me tonight. Tracy's watching some tennis in the lounge there. Good picture last week, Jeff, 018NT. I did leave the radio on and got that lovely picture that you sent over after the net there. So thanks for that. That's another one of the extra little things you get with the IC705. I did hear, because I've not been on right from the very start of your net there tonight, Jeff. I missed the very start there. I did hear some conversation about power levels on FT8 and FT4. Well, I use the Yaesu 991A, and I run 50 to 80 watts on that, and I've not had any issues. However, I think I had this conversation on another group. I always use an antenna tuning unit or antenna mapping unit from the in line with the antenna there. I don't ever rely on the built-in tuner of the 991A. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it, but I've always used that, and I've had very little trouble. I normally leave the power down a bit, and then if it's getting difficult to complete a contact, I'll turn the power up a bit. But I've not had any problems with that at all. The power people use their on the FT8. Well, there's one station that joins us regularly on another network, and he's based in Norwich, and he uses 1 kilowatt because he was determined to get onto the list of people to get an award on the WWA, which was on all of January there. So yes, but I've no plans whatsoever to go anything like to that level. And the temperature here is 1 degree centigrade, and we have been out with the dog today, and the relevance to that conversation is that when we returned from Dumfries Bridge, where we take the dog for a nice walk along the old Trans-Pennine Railway, we got up to the top of the Woodhead, and over towards the Manchester direction, all the fields you can see in the distance are all covered with snow. But on our side of the Pennines, there isn't any. So there we are. Thank you, Jeff. Thanks for inviting me in. M0AUG from G5HVH. G5HVH, group M0AUG. You know, they're fine right now, and best wishes to he's watching on TV as well. Yeah, you're talking about the old railway line from Woodhead and Dumfries Bridge. Obviously, being of senior years these days, I remember actually travelling on that line quite frequently because we had family over in Sheffield, where I came from, and we used to get on the train station at the High Bridge, the Ashton line, and actually come along that line through the Woodhead Tunnel and Dumfries Bridge many times before they closed the line. So memories of that there, Colin, thank you. Over to the waters now, and over to you, Keith. GM4 Churches in the group. M0AUC, good evening.
M0AUG in the group. Good evening, Jeff, from GM4JKZ. And a bit place on parade tonight, unfortunately, but yes, this should be working quite well. It's lashed up at the moment because I've had the desk apart. I'm trying to get things sorted out and tidied up. Temperatures up here, 2 degrees. We had some very fine snow this morning, but no problems at all. And spent most of the afternoon getting tea, so that's I was tearing my hair out trying to get the FT8.7 linked into the big master to operate, but I had one cable missing, and believe it or not, I had one end and the cable. That's very well done. From GM4JKZ.
M08 returning, and honestly, I appreciate it. Congratulations on the Q sales. Thanks to our friend Jeffrey Chapman in that game. Yeah, it's funny about amateurs and radio kitters. We always leave things to the last minute before we want to use it. But on this many times when we've been out things with the old uncle in the past and somebody said, oh, well, I'm like that back in the shack, or why didn't running move? It's not really. So it's something very forward planning there, Keith, I think, for all of us. We're all the same. It's part of the breed. Over to you there, Fraser, now in Denmark. Oscar Zulu 1, Juliet Kilo Uniform. M0 AUGU. Good evening, Fraser.
Yeah, good evening to the group, and thanks for letting us in, etc. And I was a bit late on parade because Mad Club, which is Food Club, went on for a bit longer than it should have done, in my opinion. But anyway, others were very happy. Just a few things. ST8, I always thought that it should have been licensed only to maybe 25 or 50 watts. People running 1 kilowatt on digital is crazy. If you take the TV channels, they were running, say, the big ones, say Sutton Coldfield and Emily Moore, etc., running next to 1,000. When they went down to digital, they were running 10 kilowatts.
M0AG in the group from G4IWO. Yeah, some interesting points there. First of all, by the way, a big welcome to Justin in the mid-coast of Maine in the US, listening to us tonight. Very welcome, Justin. And he's just commented on the YouTube channel. He's not a radio amateur. And I just welcomed him and said that I hoped he got something from our chat here tonight to interest him. So you're very welcome to take part, Justin. Yeah, back to the discussion about FT8. I think the danger is, I mean, there's two dangers, isn't there? One of them is in the radio themselves in terms of the construction of the output stage and whether it can handle the duty cycle for so long. I don't know about the comment that was made about Yasu radios, but it seems to me to be eminently sensible advice in any event. I think the problem is when people are running linear amplifiers and then they are particularly using antennas like an end-fed half wave that's got a balun to give a match between the piece of wire and your radio coming back from the coax. And the problem there is that the people that make these baluns, the commercial people that make them, give all kinds of quotes. This will operate at 200 watts, 400 watts, 1000 watts. 100%, none of those ratings will actually cover FT8. They're looking at almost certainly ratings for single sideband, where obviously, as we know, you very rarely get the peak of the power and only for short periods of time because of the audio wave that's coming through in single sideband. The difficulty is that none of them necessarily tell the truth. So if you buy yourself a 1 kilowatt balun, rated balun, and think you can put 1 kilowatt of FT8 through it, you're almost certainly going to cause some major problems, and they could affect your radio. So the way they're going to cause a problem is that the ferrites in the balun are going to heat up very quickly with the heavy duty cycle of FT8 and FT4. And of course, as they heat up, then they change impedance. So you'll see varying SWR, if you've got an ATU in between and you can look at your SWR, you'll see that your SWR is fluctuating very highly, and the antenna could suddenly, go from, 1-to-1 SWR up to, something astronomical at the other end, if you've put too much power through it and affect the ferrite in the balun there. So I think the warning for everyone is always to power down when using FT8. And for those who are tempted to use linears, to make sure that if they've got baluns at the end of their antenna run into something like an end-fed half wave, or a 4-to-1 balun, or a 1-to-1 balun in a dipole, for example, just be very, very careful about what you could be doing, putting too much power through that. So that's my sermon for tonight. But otherwise, people just go and do what you want and enjoy it and have fun with it. Justin's just commented, by the way, he's been watching some of our videos and exploring amateur radio culture. Hope you find it as fascinating as we do, Justin. Back to you, Jeff. M0 AUG in the group G4IWO.
Both during the next month, but this will need some further equipment with I think some program at the computer and so on. Yes, and FT8 on my side, I have no problems with power. I'm running FT8 only with my true SDX, and there I'm running only 2.5 watts in FT8 because there's no other possibility. But with this power and the Weiberkopf antenna, I had been heard in FT8 even in the States, so that's quite well. And I can say that with less power, one can make some very good contacts in FT8. So that's all from my side. I have the microphone back to M0AUG for the
Late BTT with the L1 BJW group, M0AG today. Yeah, thanks for your comments on both. And yeah, the update on my eyes progressed very, very well. Thank you very much. The next stage I've got to do is in just about 2 weeks' time, I've got to have an appointment with a local optician or optometrist to confirm back to the hospital after the film examination on the eye that's been treated. Once they've gone back to the hospital and said that, then the hospital will give me a day for the second one. So, but I must admit, since this has been taking the drops and everything else, the restoration of a reasonable vision in the left eye has been quite dramatic. And thank you for that. Over to you, Jeff. Oscar November November time with the group, M0AUG.
M0AUG, the group of 8 November Tango. And very nice to know that both for you, Jeff, and for Adriana, the eyes problems are going on the good way, are going on the right track. So that's nice to hear. And I hope that will improve further during the coming days and weeks. And a very good afternoon to Justin in the USA on YouTube. Nice to catch up with you. And very welcome to the net here. Always nice to have some new people even on YouTube. That's really nice. And to Andrew, would you give my best wishes to Dave and wish him also the very best for everything. And Bob, congrats on Potash. You make it. Unbelievable. And of course, I agree with Fraser about why 1 kilowatt on FT8. There is no need for that. I'm using maximum 20 watts. Only on VHF, UHF, I push to 70, 75 watts, but that's very rarely. Only if the conditions are a little bit, average or less. Okay, yeah, my antenna store, I have for HF, I have the mobile whip and coax, of course, and I found here in my junk box, I found an which has 3 inputs actually. It has 1.4, 1.9, 1.6, or 16.1 and 9.9 to 1 and 4 to 1. I say it the other way around. But anyway, and just experimenting, I put the ender conductor of my coax here in the shack, which is coming to the house in the shack. I just put that ender conductor onto the 3 positions, and I experimented a little bit with that, and I came to the conclusion that the 16 to 1 input gives a very good results actually to the both in receive and transmit. I have good SWR, which not necessarily say anything. It is not necessarily good news because a dummy load has also a 1-to-1, but anyway, it has a good SWR, and I can tune most antennas, and certainly on 80 meters, it's better than the Ambro hamstring, that's for sure. And on the other bands, it seems to be more or less the same, so quite surprised about that. So I'm more experimenting and see during a couple of coming days how that works. Yesterday conditions were not good, but I managed to work on 40 meter and FT8 20 watts maximum, Madeira, and an American station. What was it? 53 from November or something, yeah. So, and for the moment, I'm monitoring 40 meters and FT8, and I can see a Chinese station, Bravo, India 4, Julia Juliet Oscar, coming in, and a station from Israel and from Asia, Turkey, and so on. So, yeah, just it needs some more experimenting, but just see how that is developing. I was really surprised that worked that well, Okay, back to you, Jeff. Mike 0 AUG, the group over 8 November Tango. And by the way, that is a German product. It's called Funk Box. So maybe Mike and Adriana know that, Funk Box. So back to you. Mike 0 AUG, the group over 8 November Tango.
Alright, November Tango, the group 0 AUG. You're fine with that, Jeff. I've never ever tried anything on any other deck modes, so all this is new to me. Maybe it's something I should try. John G3SAL, who does brilliantly with limited conditions on his deck modes on that, has always sort of saying to me, you want to try it, but I've not done so far anyway. Right, I'll fix the order on my list. You've got one different from the website there. So back over to you, Bob. November 4, X-ray Alpha Tango in the group. M0 AUG. 0 AUG in the group number 4, X-ray Alpha Tango. And normally, I guess on this round, I usually my updates on Coda. I've really been tied up with Coda recently. Ever since I got this 705, I find it so fascinating. And of course, here in the United States, there are so many quotas on that now I'm working on my second go around of certificates with a lot of them because it's so nice. But to catch up on my statistics, I have 1,970 parks. I have to get 30 more, and I don't know how long that'll take me, but at least I'm making progress. I get a park or two a day anyway, so I'm lucky that way. On the early shift, because I usually get out here in the shack times to the early shift, I have 1,092 contacts. So when you take more early shift contacts, I think I get another award at 1,100 on that. So I can't complain about that. I still am at, I don't know if last week I was at 20 countries or not, but I'm at 20 countries. Of course, the main country, of course, is the U.S. So I have 19 DX countries. The other main country, of course, being Canada. But we call that a DX country, even though it's just up the road a few, several hundred miles, I guess. But I can't complain. I have 169 DX contacts. Not that many parks, but 169 contacts. So that's nice also. And also, I do have another picture that I'll send out today at the end of the net. Not much else to report from here, so back to you, Jeff. M0 AUG with the group, November 4, X-ray Alpha Tango. Before X-ray Alpha Tango in the group, M0 AUG, final nothing, final all the scores that you get everywhere. Just out of interest, because Alan from the Oldham Club, he's a big Baltimore, and one of the local areas in the Oldham area, you've been up to Bishop's Park as well. But there's no classes of park up there. And Alan was up there Sunday, I think it was, and he was activating multi-contact on there. So I signed up as a hunter on the Delta side, and it turns out when I was looking at the records afterwards, it's a period I also had a contact with the Dominican Republic back in 2022, and another with the Azores in 2023 on the Delta as well. So there are 3 contacts there. Long way to go for me, Bob, but it's a start. Over to you there, comment there. Just 5HH in the group, M0AUG. M0AUG in the group, G5HBH returning. Yeah, thank you. Fascinating conversation as usual on here, because I always class myself now as being quite new to the hobby, because there's so many different modes of operations and so many different things to learn about. And I've spent a bit of time in recent weeks using D-Star, because I've not used this D-Star system for a while there, and getting to know this IC705, and it's proving to be a very interesting radio and far more fascinating than I ever expected there, because basically I've just been using it for its function of being able to transmit on the 6-meter band into my gateway. So that's been interesting, and I found out it does decode RTTY. So since last week I have started dipping my toe into the water and trying to see if I can decode and see the text coming up on the screen of the radio, which is quite fascinating. As far as HF goes, for FT8, FT4, etc., I've only got a piece of wire that me and my good lady wife measured out and put in the loft in the form of a dipole connected to a balun, and it was initially measured out for 40 meters. However, it seems to tune at its best to 15 meters there. So that's what I have, and that's all I'm using for a lot of the contacts on that sheet there. All of the FT8 mode, I should say, there on 15 meters. And then I discovered that using the antenna matching unit, I could match up my 6-meter stereo that I use for the gateway onto the 17-meter band, and that's where I've been doing a lot of the contacts on HF. So I've enjoyed doing that, and I have taken on board everybody's comments about power levels. And yeah, it's I certainly always advocate using linears on FT8, and no, I don't really understand why you would need to do that. This guy that I was talking to just seemed to be so engrossed in being on the leaderboard in the competition there that he was using his radio on it, like 20 hours a day to try and get into the top 3. I don't think I've got a lot else to add there. The 705 radio, yeah, I'm pleased that other people on this net are using these radios now. So I always find that places like this are the only place that you find any genuinely useful information. Back to you, Jeff. G5HK from the group M0AG telling. Yeah, fine, I'm not calling. I think you just went to timeout them. But I still don't find it a superb radio. And obviously, if I don't do decibels and things like that, I only use a fraction of it. But it's an absolutely superb radio. It really is. Probably one of the best investments I ever made in the hobby, to be honest. Well, what do you keep GM4 checkers from the group M0AG?
M0AG, the group GM4JKZ. Yeah, I hope it wasn't me that stirred the hornet's nest on FT8 last week. And yeah, still not heard anything about my FTDX 3000 at the moment. So I'll probably give them a call tomorrow to see if they've progressed with any activity on it. And yeah, it was actually the well-known establishment in London, ML&S, advised me that 25 watts was the suggested maximum for FT8 on Yaesu radios as per sort of edict that they had received from Yaesu in Japan. I think that's just guaranteeing that it works okay. But my one failed weekend before last. I was running in the RTTY contest, and I always run maximum power in RTTY because they're relatively short duration transmissions, and I tend to be the hound rather than the fox. So I always hunt up and down the bands. And it's been fine ever since I've had the radio. I've had it 9 years, I think. Is it 9 years? 5, 16, yeah, about 9 years, I think. So, touch wood, it'll come back and I will reduce the power on it. So there we go. Fraser, yeah, DS Commander leaves, etc. It does cause a problem. I used to have problems with grass growing long, and the solution I put in place was to make up a 9-inch, not a 10-inch square wooden plate and screw the radial plates down onto that, and then just stand the rest of the antenna through the hole that I'd made in the wooden plate. Not all the way through, I hasten to add, but I did drill a hole in the centre just for letting the water out. And that seems to be okay, as long as it's quite interesting. I cut the grass normally, strip the edges around the antenna, just to keep the grass down. I go out there with a pair of scissors. It's brilliant. You get it cut really short, it lasts twice as long. So yeah, so that could be a problem there with the 2-to-1 on your FWR. And thank you for the comment on my audio. Everybody sounds pretty good tonight from me up here. I've got my audio running into a Sony surround, tiny little speaker, 4-inch speaker, and it's really pleasing to the ear tonight. So, what was the other thing I was going to mention? Congratulations, Bob. Yes, 1970, another 35 on since last week, and good on you there. You'll soon be up to 2,000. Another couple of weeks, I reckon, for you. So there you go. Okay, back to you there, Jeff M0AUG in the group from GM4JKZ.
GM4JKZ in the group M0AUG. Thanks for all the useful comments there, and thank you for that. And the vision of you down the end with me grasping a pair of scissors. That's interesting. Okay, over to you there, Chris, if you're next over. Everyone, JK, you in the group, M0AUG. Fraser, if you want to make this a final, that's up to you, because we will be starting finals next time round. Over to you there.
Okay, I'm always the final, so never mind. Yes, this is my final. I'll just listen around until it's all finished, so that's great.
Thanks for that. The comments on the DX. Yeah, I agree with you. I think brass and rockets and a 9-inch bit of wood, that might work very well indeed. So thanks for that information and advice. That's pretty good as well. Ken, no, Lou, G8KJJ, FT8, FT4. FT4 needs between 1 and 2 dB more power, or shall we say signal, coming into the receiving end, and most likely the transmitting end as well, to actually decode correctly. It just needs a little bit more than the normal. I've got a good friend who's been on GMOs for about 10 years, ever since it all sort of started, and he's pretty good, and he lives in a block of flats. He's got aerials in the loft, which are not the best, and he can often hear things which are going on, and the poor chap can't work them because the angle of radiation is not really coming through his tiles or whatever, and he can't decode them, but he can hear them on FT8, FT4, and he said between 1 and 2 dBs more. In my book, digital mode should have been limited to 25 watts by law, shall we say, worldwide. All the various groups should have got together and said 25, 50 watts worldwide. Running a kilowatt digital is crazy. A lot of TV stations, I think in Holland, a couple, and Billsdale, but I don't think Billsdale was quite due to digital. It was due to water ingress. But Hotfield, I believe, was due to the fact that digital modes being constant transmission caused the feeders to get very hot, and then they caught fire, of course, due to high power. Okay, broadcast is a little bit different from amateur radio, but the ideas are the same, I think, really and truly. Yep, yes, Marna. Bob, are you in New Jersey winter mode, so nothing on board? I just wonder on that one, if you come round again, you might not. Okay, my final. Many thanks indeed for letting me in. I'm sorry I'm late on parade and all the rest of it, but we have other things going on Thursday night, so I have to rush home to come into the group, which is always very nice. Thanks very much indeed. How's everyone, JKU, and good night.
Hello everyone, JKU in the group M0AUG returning. Thanks for your contributions, President. Thank you for joining this evening. We're really about towards the end. This is the point in time when we get past Andrew and go straight over to Northern Germany and then Belgium and Colin. And then we bring the people who want to send pictures through in order, and Bob is first on the list, Keith is second, and then Jeff in Belgium brings up the rest. But just before that happens, Nick comes in to give us the finale on the next evening. So, first of all, over to your finals, Jim. G4GBA in the group, M0AUG. Jim to find out at that one, so over to you there, Lee, for your finals. G8KJJ in the group, M0AUG. G8KJJ returning. Yes, okay, Jeff. I did think I was just going to be listening from the last over, but anyway, 70 degrees to everyone. It's been really enjoyable this evening. I've taken on board all the comments that people have made, and it's very instructive. Just degrees, best wishes to everyone, and we'll look forward to next week. This is Golf 8 Kilo Juliet, back to M0AUG. G8KJJ, AG Tony. Yeah, thanks for joining us again, Lou, and hope you'll become a regular on this group as you're already starting to be. Your audio on your 7100 is very, very clean indeed. Nice audio there. Look forward to catching up with you next week there, Lou. Over to you for your final Andrew, please. M0R11 group. M0AG. Yeah, M0AG, the group M0ROL. Well, another good net tonight. And Andrew, thanks for the help on the Q6. I did use the reverse beta network in the week. It was getting into Europe on 20 meters, but the signal strength is quite low. In fact, when I swapped over to a different radio, still 5 watts, 40 meters was actually better propagation. And Jeffrey, yes, I will pass my regards on to Dave when I speak to him at the weekend. And Jeff and AUG, thanks for running the net again. It's always good to catch up on a Thursday. I just keep my fingers crossed the weather's going to improve so I can get out on the hill and get away from all this noise we have in my head and start doing a bit more radio events. So in the meantime, I wish everyone 73 have a good week. Hopefully the weather's going to be a little bit better than we've had the last few days. And we'll catch up next Thursday. So back to you, Jeff. So AUG, the group. This is M0ROL. M0ROL in the group. M0AG returning. Thanks, Andrew, for your contribution this evening. And I hope there's a channel. He gets himself tired through doing too much. And I think that can apply for a lot of us, really. So thanks again. Hope to catch you on next week. Right, over to Northern Germany now for your finals, please. BO1BJW with TL8BGT in the group. M0AUG, over to you, Mike.
Delta Lima 1 Bravo Julie Whiskey with the final. First of all, Jeff M0AUG, thank you very much for your good work and hosting the net again. It was a pleasure to meet you all this evening. A very enjoyable evening and very informative. And one word to ONA November Tango, Jeff in Belgium. In the meantime, I looked up what you said about the German retailer Funk Shop, radio shop in English. And I never heard of this company until now. They got a very interesting display of things on the internet. Not much, but a match, for example, or a 40 meter transceiver as a kit and other things. And also the mentioned by you this multiple Anon 1 to 16, 1 to 9, 1 to 4, which is unfortunately sold out at this moment, but should cost only 35 euros, which is quite cheap, I think. So very tip, thank you for that, and I will be looking it up again in the near future. So wishing you all a very pleasant evening and a very good rest of the week, a good weekend coming up, and hopefully successful and healthy week. Looking forward to meeting you all again next week, and until then, 73s and all the very best from Delta Lima 1 Bravo Juliet Whiskey, passing the microphone to DL8BDT.
This is Delta Lima 8 Bravo Delta Tango for the group. Thank you very much for this interesting evening, and thank you, Jeff, for hosting the net. I wish you all a pleasant weekend and good GX, and hope to meet you down the dock or next week on the digital net and on Zoom. Bye bye, 73 and 88. This was Delta Lima 8 Bravo Delta Tango, handing the microphone back to M0AUG for the group.
DL8BGT with you on BJW. Thank you to both of you. Always a pleasure to have you on, the contributions you make to this group. You've been with us from the start, and long may it continue. So, what we'll do now, we'll just go through the others before we bring Nick on for your finals. And Oscar and Pennine Ham and Tango. Just your normal finals at this stage, Jeff. M0AUG.
Okay, Mike 0, AUG, the group over 8 November Tango. Yeah, okay, yeah, that's a very good shop, by the way. Mike, I really interesting shop. Just okay, I'm on the dashboard. Okay, yeah, very interesting shop. I really enjoy that. They have some very interesting products, I think. And okay, Colin, experimenting with antennas and using antennas for other frequencies. Sometimes that's a big surprise. I have the what is it, the VX2000 three-bander for 270 and 6 meters, and I discovered that it is also working on 4 meters, so that's very interesting. And I think the antenna that I have now with the Ellen, the 16 to 1 Ellen, the length with the coax and the antenna and the mobile whip is about 7.5 meter, and that let me think that this should be a kind of a Ribacom antenna. So yeah, it was working with the 4 to 1, but it was with the 16 to 1. So yeah, but the interesting thing about this Unen that you can experiment with different values in the Unens. And okay, my Ricky was in QRP, so I was in the QRP category. And I saw him passing by. He was in my dead zone, but I saw him working a station in the States, I think. So I saw that he was active, but I haven't seen you, and I know now why. My picture will be a picture of the harbor of Ostend, the place where I was born. So thank you very much, Jeff, for an enjoyable evening and for organizing all these 73s, all the very best. Keep track on your eyes, both you and Adriana, and hope to catch you all next week. And there will be a picture after Keith, I think. So Mike 0 AUG the group, 08 November Tango.
08 November Tango in the group, M0 AUG returning. Thank you for that, Jeff, and thanks for your contribution. And also your good wishes to both Adam and myself on the eyes there. So, what we'll do now, we'll go over to Bob. Not for the picture of the stage, just for your final. And then we'll take a picture. So when pictures of the winding up there. November 4 Action Alpha Tango in the group. M0 AUG. Great to have you with us this evening. M0 AUG with the group, number 4 Action Alpha Tango. And first of all, Jeff, thank you very much again for being net control. You do an excellent job. And I look forward to this meeting every week. Second, one of the nice things about Jeff, if one doesn't keep a log, it doesn't matter. As you found out, as far as POTA is concerned, the POTA activator is the one that reports your station as being honor. So as you found out, you already have 3, even though you may have just looked for the first time. And that's one nice part about the way POTA operates. The other thing is, of course, I do log all of mine in OTW and several other call books. So I do all my QSOs. But if the activator happens either hit a typo and get your call sign wrong, or miss your call sign for some reason, it doesn't go in as a POTA activation, so you don't get credit. So that's the bad point. But I really can't complain. Most of mine are usually recorded. And Andrew, I use both reverse beacon and I use BSK reporter to figure out where my signal is going. Even if the signal isn't active, you can see when the last time they heard you. and where they hurt you. And that really, for me, when I'm out hunting for bodas, DX bodas, that really helps me a lot. It lets me know where my DX is going, especially when one uses a lot of raw power, which I do. Let's see. I guess I'm curing you here, except I'll stand by it at the end. I do have a picture ready. It's of the East Point Lighthouse, and it's not a close-up, but the East Point, you no longer can go inside. You have to look at it online. Apparently, it got too costly for the club that was running the inside of the lighthouse. You no longer can go inside of it. But it is a nice lighthouse in New Jersey. And back to you, once again, Jeff, thank you for running the net. And so AUG was a group, November 4, X-Ray Alpha Penguin 73 to the rest of you. November 4, X-Ray Alpha Penguin group M0 AUG telling. Yes, correct at that moment. Thanks for the offer of the photograph at the end. We'll put Colin on for your finals now, please, Colin. I hope you've enjoyed the net this evening. G5HVH and M0AUG, and best wishes to Tracy as well. Thanks, Jeff. Thanks for running the net there at M0AUG, G5HVH for final. 73 is from me, and I will pass your good wishes on to my good lady wife, who's in the lounge. Although I'm very fortunate, my shack is downstairs in what used to be the garage, which was converted into an office a few years ago. And it's now the shack, so I'm very lucky to be inside, centrally heated, next to the boiler. There we are. Yeah, and what my challenge will be between now and next week will be to reinstate the remote app that I've got for my Apple device there, which connects to the 705, so that one of the functions on it, along with everything else, is the FT8 function. So I'm going to give that a go and see what happens. See how far we get then on the maximum power of 10 watts on the IC705. And I'll let you know how we get on with that. I'm sure we'll be pleasantly surprised there. So thanks very much. I learned an awful lot from these nets. Like I said there, it's been a second successful week now of a connection from D-Star, and I'm very impressed with the audio quality from everyone. I've had absolutely no dropouts or anything like that at all this evening from any of the stations on this net. So I'm very impressed. There are a lot of people around in this area that think that D-Star is a dinosaur. But I'm determined to prove them wrong, and it isn't. That it isn't there, but you just need to go and find out where it is. So thanks everyone at Pennine Ham for running the net, and back over to you there, Jeff, M0AUG from G5HVH. Good night everyone. G5HVH and the group M0AUG returning. Yeah, fine on that, Colin, and yeah, of all the nodes, I must admit that D-Star is the preferred one for me. Probably because I've been working with D-Star since 2008, I think it was, and yeah, I enjoy it. I do some work on C4FM. I abandoned DMR a few years ago. I'm just sitting now mainly to the D-Star side. And what are you thinking about dropouts? The dropouts seem to occur where we've got these multi-protocol nets, and you've got all the transcoding and this sort of thing going on. Well, you've got a net like tonight where I think everybody's literally on D-Star. It works like a treat. And well done to that. And Darren's M5AD IT monitoring, it works an absolute treat this evening, Darren. In fact, Darren's probably got my original IC92 radio, which was the first D-Star handheld that I've had, and I think he loves it. Over to you before finals, before the pictures, Keith. GM4JKs are in the group, M0AUG.
M0AUG in the group, GM4JKZ. Yeah, okay then, Jeff. Another great tune mate this evening. And I hope Justin is getting some value out of what we talk about, and good evening to him. And thanks for controlling the net tonight. Smooth operator as normal. Very good indeed. And yeah, I've got a picture to come. Mine's of a lighthouse as well, but I'll let you decide if you can recognise it. It's a well-known one, I must admit. So with that, I'll put it back to you, Jeff. M0AUG in the group. Good night to all our listeners from GM4JKZ.
GM4JKZ, M0AUG returning. Okay, so the running order now, we're going to put Dom for his finals to wrap up the hat, and then we'll start making pictures, and we'll take the first picture after Nick has finished from Bob in the US, and for XAT, followed by Keith, GM4JKZ, and then Oscar November 8, November Tango to bring up the finale. Thank you for everybody taking part in the net this evening. It's been a really good net. Thank you for everybody who's been listening on the YouTube channel, and anybody who listens to the recording on the YouTube channel there. And we've certainly had a good net tonight. So I'll say something to you at this stage, and we'll bring Nick in a minute. Hope everybody remembers that we've got the Zoom meeting, a members meeting next Wednesday evening, and then we'll pick up with this net again next Thursday. So over to you for your finals, please, Nick. G4, IWO in the group. M0 AUG.
M0 AUG in the group from G4 IWO. Yeah, first of all, Jeff, thank you very much indeed again for your great work you do in chairing the net. And thank you everyone for your contributions tonight. Some very interesting bits that emerge at every one of these nets that we hold. So thank you everybody. Very quickly to Colin, I think if you haven't used it yet, the piece of software you're likely to use with the ICOM 705 is the SDR control software. And it is a superb bit of software. You'll very quickly get the hang of it, and you'll find it excellent for, you can send CW on it, you can obviously listen to sideband and transmit, and of course you can send and receive FT8 as well. So it's a very impressive bit of software. Just make sure you've got the latest version if it's that app that you're going to be using, Colin, and it'd be interesting to hear how you get on with it. In terms of what we've got coming up, as Jeff just said, next week we've got the club members meeting, and we won't draw out the business part. I know it's not everyone's cup of tea, but it's absolutely right that our members should be involved in making the decisions about what the club's doing or not doing, and so we'll do that at next week's meeting. Hopefully we won't spend hours and hours discussing these points, and we'll have an opportunity for a bit of chinwag as well on the Zoom channel next Wednesday. On the following week, on Wednesday the 26th of January, we've got Jonathan Hare, G1 EXG, who's going to come and talk about the article that he wrote about an end-fed 10-meter array, which should be pretty interesting. And he's a very interesting guy. If you look up his call sign on QRZ, G1 EXG, you'll find lots of links to work that he's done on science and work he's done on television as well on the subject, which is extremely good. And then after that, the second week in March, on March the 12th, is it, or 13th? Forgotten the date now. We've got Steve Nichols, G0KYA, the chair of the RSGB Propagation Committee. He's going to give us a talk about where we're at with the current solar cycle 25 and what we can expect over the next year or two from propagation and band conditions. And as always, I'm sure people will get a lot of satisfaction and a lot of new information from Steve when he delivers his talk to us. So we've got some good meetings coming up. Hope you can all join us. And thank you for coming with us tonight. And thank you to those that have watched on YouTube Live. And I hope those that watch it from the recording on YouTube enjoy some of the chat here tonight and come again. So back to you, Jeff. M0, AUG in the group G4IWO.
G4, I don't know, contribution this evening and also for the wrap up on the club affairs, etc. Now, back to Bob in the US, and if you want to send your picture over first, please, Bob. November 4, extra Alpha Tango, M0 AUG. Perfect picture, Bob. 100% copy, very beautiful.
And 100% here in Scotland.
This is beautiful letters there, Bob. Thank you. On to you, Keith. Perfect picture, Keith. I think it's wrong hand, but that's probably wrong. I recognise it being off there, the light there, Keith, on the doors, lighthouse there. One or two job posts, but also